What's the fun in that?
Now who's going on adventures?
You are. And I'm so proud of you.
Look, every day's an adventure if you decide to jump off a roof to start it.
Oh, jeez.
But one of those, one that's only one floor off the ground. I mean, you gotta give yourself a fighting chance.
Did I hear sirens?
No, that's just the children in my basement. Ignore them.
Okay.
Again, goddammit.
I know! I need some better soundproofing down there. I swear the cops will get called on me one day.
No. Then you put the cops in there with them.
No, you see, I'm already full capacity on cops, too.
Ah.
I mean, just because you have a sweatshop in your basement doesn't mean you should make it soundproof.
You see, I'm stuck. I mean, their cries of pain brings me so much joy.
Jeez. It's a good thing we're going to cut out all of this.
Oh no, this is staying, from what I've been told.
Well, we don't want to besmirch our good name.
I have a good name.
No, the podcast has a good name.
Yes, I'll be thrown under the bus all I need to be.
Gotcha.
Trust me, I've already escaped the country and changed my identity once. I can do it again. Well, that boot showed that general... What? Now, where am I?
Who? Where do these people keep coming from?
That German magic dust was sure something stronger than I thought. What are you lot of hoses doing here? Oh no, this better not be some sort of consciousness council. Distinct lack of avian representation.
Well, we all have wings here.
Well, two of us have wings. Rue has something.
I've been already questioning my consciousness well enough already. You wouldn't mind having a dart around here, would you?
A dart. What is a dart?
You hold this must not be from the Canuck. Cigarette. That's the word.
Also, welcome to Delegation of Dreamers.
Yes, welcome.
Not the Council of Consciousness. Well, that does a little bit to aid my worries.
Not this time, though. I feel like you might need to go see them at some point.
And one more thing, Jeremy. Make sure that you keep guarding the door. The other one didn't do their job right, and... Oh, hello.
Oh.
You seem to have brought someone in already.
I think he brought himself in.
Oh, one of those ones. Well, hello.
Pleasure meeting you.
The pleasure is mine, I'm sure. So, where did you come from?
Sorry, can we start with who are you?
Kyrif, at your service. And I was on my way out of the general's office before this.
What were you doing exactly before this?
Well, I huffed what we found was a metric, a shit ton of German anti-magic dust, and I huffed enough of it to probably tranquilize a magical elephant.
Ah. He brought himself here.
Oh, that much is evident now. Did you say German?
Yes? Do you prefer the term Nazi?
Well, what's a German?
I think the question you should be asking is, who's a Buta German? And that would be the assholes across the waters in Europe who decided that, maybe we should go and attack everyone, eh? It's a pain.
They say A?
Hey, are you making fun of my accent?
Possibly.
I thought I had enough of this when I joined the army. That's what a Buta expect at this point.
Well, this one's from a world that has interesting names for things. I've never heard of this German, and an interesting accent this one has. Very nice.
If you're not familiar with all that, I'm guessing you don't have cigarettes around here.
Oh, wait. Let me get Jeremy on that. Hey, Jeremy! Bring some of the cigarettes around.
Have you been making those on the side, Rue?
Well, I have to make some money somehow.
It's not going to cost me, is it?
No, you're a guest. Ah, here's Jeremy now.
Thank you. Left my lighter back in the real world? I'm not really sure where I am still.
Oh, I could help you with that.
Aye, coming a little closer, singeing the feathers. But it is lit. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, could you tell us a little bit about this German anti-magic dust? What is that?
So Yabut infiltrated this one camp. And we're up in there, lighting up all the Germans, turning them all into, well, corpses. And after we've finally walked into the main building, there's a surprising lack of criminal evidence. I mean, clearly you think these crazy Canucks are up to something, but no, nothing. And then, just as we thought we were out of luck, boom, secret basement. Couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, secret basements are usually on par for crazy situations, but this was really wacky here. We go down, completely surrounded, and we light them all up, as per my usual standard. My allies got a bit beat up, though. Besides that, and we find all sorts of damning evidence. Stuff about dissecting people, trying to find where magic comes from. Truly terrible stuff. Regardless, they finally discovered where it came from and how to stop it. This powder, let me tell you, strong stuff. It got me here, at least. But man, does it completely cancel out magic. Gathered some up, took it back to base, and snorted the entire bag.
And you thought that was a good idea?
Well, we had to prove it was worth something.
Fair. And who sent you on the mission originally?
I hazard to say I should give you the name of the general. If they found out what his real name was circling around, oh boy, they'd know exactly who it was. They're really particular about that sort of thing.
Sorry, if who found out?
Well, the rest of the chain of command. They'd have my ass.
Oh, so it was a secret mission.
Oh, the secret as they come.
Well, at least nobody should be hearing our little interview that you'll know. Unless you tell someone.
Most interviews are usually private these days. I hope this one doesn't really get televised on that newfangled TV stuff they got going on. Real crazy stuff.
TV?
Well, I do have my computer here. I'm assuming that's close to a TV.
I still don't understand what this computer thing you have is.
They've been using those newfangled computer things to try and break the German codes. I tried to wrap my head around it, but I kind of fell asleep in the middle of the presentation.
Explaining these things can be a bit dry.
How do you wrap your head around something? Like, do you have a long neck?
I mean, I could turn my head pretty far.
It's a figure of speech.
Ephraim, how many books do I need to get you on the subject?
It's not my fault that people use words that doesn't make sense.
Aye, maybe you need to loosen up a bit.
Loosen up how?
Another figure of speech.
But it doesn't make any sense.
Neither do a lot of things in this world, especially him getting here by snorting something.
Well, I've thought of a couple questions I would like to ask you. Specifically, do you have any sort of criminal record?
Criminal record? Nah, spent most of my time out in the backwoods my early years. And really, the most criminal thing I've done is join this war and start shooting up some Nazis. Although you could call that heroic.
I see. Well, no criminal record.
I mean, there was a time I was a real youngster. We had this general store in town. Not really a well-known place, but, small town general store. Not much there. But there was this delicious Mikey I saw. This absolute huge bottle. I knew I had to have it for myself. I swiped it off that shelf and ran home with it and drank it in secret. Trust me, I'm not a subtle drunk.
Hmm. So not on your record, but you did do something criminal. Interesting. And, what's something that you miss while you're in this war? Something you miss from home?
Well, the more casual aspect of hunting. The issue with dealing with these Germans is that whenever you're out there on the battlefield, it's more of a matter of life and death. You don't just get to sit back. Hunting? Such a relaxing affair. You just get to sit there basically all day waiting for some poor creature to come up on you.
Yes, I've dabbled in hunting before. But, what is that interesting device you have, by the way? The metal thing.
Me classic beaut. Here is Evangela, a Winchester Model 70 long-range sniper rifle, retrofitted with own designs.
What is a sniper rifle?
Yes, strange people. How familiar are you with gunpowder?
Oh, I've heard of gunpowder.
Is that another thing you snort?
No, it's very bad.
I've tried it. Not the best to put up there.
I mean, this anti-magic doesn't seem to be the best either.
I mean, it's got me tripping out all the way over here. It might be better.
Yes. But, anyway.
I still think this is a fever dream.
Well, it's probably a dream of some sort. You are in the realm of dreams and forgotten memories.
I hope I forget this.
A little rude.
Anyways, bringing it back to my rifle. Here you see I've made some beautiful custom etchings on the side, including but not limited to some mountains, can't forget a kill count, and a very crude drawing of my face in case I ever misplace it.
So this sniper rifle uses gunpowder and most likely ammunition. I have heard of guns, but this is more advanced than the ones that I have seen.
The technology of a cartridge is what you're missing. Let's see. There's a bullet. Here. As you can see, they just got this fancy thing. They put just this small little projectile at the top and a lot of gunpowder behind it and this little bullet.
Ooh, fancy.
Is that for like killing bugs or something?
Well, it flies fast enough to kill something much bigger than a bug. Say a man.
A tiny little projectile like that.
You'd be surprised what the small things can do.
Kinky.
Not like that. Wait a moment, that's my job. I'm supposed to be the one. Speaking of, brings me to another question. Well, being in the army, I know that some people in armies like to sleep around. How many people have you slept with?
I'm going to be blatantly honest here. There is not a lot of women in the army. Sleeping around is a difficult task, especially when you're the one being thrown on the front lines all the time.
Ah.
Although I did heard that the American armies usually get to station up near France and stuff. Got to be in their shoes.
Well, if there isn't a lot of women, you just have to broaden your horizon. How's that for a figurative speech?
That was actually a good use of that.
I want off this swing set then, because I just don't swing that way.
So tell me about this war. Moving on.
Well, it's a hazardous one, to say the least. After that failure at Normandy, it was quite a tragedy trying to get a push back together again.
What do you mean?
I mean, we were defeated at one point. Hopefully the second one... Actually, the second one did go through. Where's my memory? You said this is the place of forgotten memories, right?
Yes.
I can excuse that.
You must have left it at the door.
Yes.
Or maybe I left it with a little bit of that magic dust.
What is a Normandy? Is that a place?
You're a lot of dense hoses. Yes, it is a place. A beach specifically.
So, you're fighting people from Germany, Germans. Is this a war on mini grounds?
A war on mini grounds? It's quite a major war, if anything. Almost tops the Great War, really.
I don't think any war is really great, but what made that war named the Great War?
Well, supposedly, they thought that would be the only one involving every country on the planet. And then World War II came along and sort of put that first one in the ground.
Oh.
And this war is the Greater War.
I know, but Greater War doesn't really, run off the tongue very well.
No, I like it. The Greater War. War for having the best war.
I wouldn't be giving it any awards.
But what are you fighting over?
Well, there's this crazy asshole at the top. This Hitler guy, real special nutcase. Absolutely fanaticized the entire region, and suddenly he wants to claim more land for his people. Well, maybe the restrictions on him after the Great War were a little bit too much, but I mean, come on! Start the war that seems to end all wars, and then you get upset when we blame you for it?
So it's about territory.
It's territory and, well, a little bit against religion. They've been rounding up these people. All of them magic users of some sort, and they've been putting them in these camps. I told you we saved some of them. That's a different problem. But we did pull some out. About half of them, sadly. But they've been collecting these people up, and, well, so far intel looks bad. They just seem to be disappearing all over the place, and from our last mission, records show that they seem to just be getting killed.
Oh dear. That's no good at all. It makes sense that there'd be a war over that.
It's quite a terrible affair.
How's the war going so far?
Well, we're scratching at almost anything we can. We're trying to pull out victory from the jaws of defeat, so to speak. That's of course why my elite team is formed. To strike at the heart of the machine. You'd think it's a boot right if we went and struck, let's say, some critical points, so to speak. Eh?
So, you mentioned that you had a team formed. Would you mind telling us about them?
Oh, that crazy lot. Let me tell you, they're all over the place. And you won't believe the last guy I'm gonna tell you. First we got called a real special sort, trying to challenge me to be the best sniper. Clearly he's not doing better. I am, of course, the best. But that's besides the point. Then we got this, I'd almost say a kid. Quite a shame that he's in this war, but whatever helps end it, so be it. He's some sort of true psychic. I swear, fate bends when he's around. And finally, and you're not gonna believe this, Yarman Fritz Kallenbach. If you can't tell by the name, he is the clearest cut German you've ever heard. I mean, this man is crazy. Sets buildings on fire willy-nilly. Wields a flamethrower. Should have led with that.
And he's on your side?
Yeah, that's the craziest part of all. He's on our side. I've got my suspicions that he's a German spy, but the way he burnt those poor Fritz at the encampment, oh boy. You'd think otherwise.
I guess that means that not all of the Germans are bad people.
I'd say he's more the exception.
Yes. A couple of questions about where you're from. What kind of foods do you have? Do you eat cheeses, or do you eat much meats, or fruits, or what's common in where you're from?
A great mix of venison, moose. You said cheeses, we got dairy. I mean, we're not hard-pressed. I prefer the food that we hunt over the food that we buy from the market.
Understandable. You said you have dairy. Do you have a thing called shaken milk, or I think commoners call it milkshakes.
Milkshakes. There was that new place opening up downtown. Nickel a drink. Real impressive price there.
Ooh, I finally found a place that actually has milkshakes. I might have to visit.
You're using nickel as a currency?
We got pennies, nickels, dimes, all the way up to dollars.
Oh, so it's not made of nickel, it's just called a nickel. Interesting. So, is a nickel a coin, or is it...
Let's see. Do I have one? Must have left it in my other trousers. Yes, it is a coin. Very small sort of deal.
Small coins. Maybe we should do that with gold. Instead of making them so big, maybe make them small.
Oh, no, we tried that, but they get stuck between the scales if they're too small.
Ah.
You know, if you're looking for a couple theories, I'm not exactly a well-versed banker, but our coins aren't actually made out of that much, valuable material, so to speak. They represent valuable material. You can go to these banks and turn them in for real gold.
Ah, they're cheating.
Ooh. So, you can make something out of less valuable material and trade it for an actual valuable material. That's not a bad idea.
I think it's a big scheme if you're valuing something as much as a real object would be valued.
Maybe, but it would also allow you to hide away the more valuable materials like gold and use something as a placeholder until you have enough to get it. Though we do have silver and copper, so maybe we don't need to do that. Anyway, one last question from me. What would you say is the toughest fight you've had so far?
I remember when I said we dropped down there and dealt with them no problem? That, was a blatant lie. When we dropped down there, we were surrounded on all sides by these ghoulish characters, all with sabers. And they set upon us like wolves to the slaughter. We were completely surrounded. Heck, that Calder guy got knocked down twice. Twice! And then, before we even had a chance to take a breath from these guys, suddenly this big lug guy, we're talking huge! I'm talking like maybe half this big guy size, maybe a little bit more round, towered over us and just decked poor Calder in the face. Man didn't stand a chance. And while his ass was getting handed to him, I was getting lit up by these mages. They were tossing fire left and right. Heck, I think I have a few singed feathers because of them still.
They were throwing fire?
I'm not very well versed in the magical camps, but they did keep shouting firebolt in German at me, so I have a good feeling that's what that's called.
Firebolt. Useful cantrip.
So tell me, with the amount of people that you have fought, do you have any particular enemies? Not just a group of people, but anyone in particular?
I would hazard to call her an enemy, but we did upset this hag. We're talking a real ancient woman. She was trapped in this bell, and it just had it written all over it, red flags. Of course, Calder couldn't be bothered, and thinking it would be a weapon to win the war, decided to open it up. The crazy lad. She walked out like it was none of her business. Heck, Calder even shot her in the back of the head, which is a very poor decision. When a hag, who probably has lived hundreds of years, walks out of a bell, God damn it, Calder, if you can hear me, that is your fault if you ever comes back up again.
I don't think he can hear you. He's in another realm.
But we'll let him know if we ever interview him.
Sorry, got a little spirited there. And this woman shrugs off the shot like it's nothing. When you get shot in the back of the head, people usually die. But this woman, no, she just kept walking and said that she was giving us only one chance. Which I'm pretty sure means that she hates us now. But we didn't tell Command that, and I hope you don't either.
In different realm, we aren't likely to tell anybody.
Yep, there's no Germans or command to talk to here. Unless we bring them here.
I'm not taking that gamble.
So, I only caught the enemy side. They're called Germans, but what is your side called?
Well, the Germans, they have their own alliance, but at the same time, we're called the Allies. I couldn't be bothered. What was it? The Americans to the south. It was, those Britons.
But there's two sides of alliances, and one of the sides call themselves the Alliance. Isn't that very confusing?
Sometimes. But usually you know who you're fighting alongside with due to their uniform styles.
What's the other side called if they have an alliance? What did they name theirs?
They were, I think, Command Up and High, and most of the people around me are calling them the Axis. I call them the assholes, but if you're using a lot more correct vernacular, it would be Axis.
Interesting. So we got the Axis and the Allies. Your world is quite interesting. It has unique names for things and interesting place names. If I ever do visit, I'll have to make notes.
I'd hold on your vacation. War is still going strong all over the place.
Yes, I'll be sure to wait till your war is over.
Hey, if I ever find a way back, I'll sure as hell tell you.
Something tells me that you'll be able to get back to your place without much issue. I might not even have to intervene.
But before we have him leave, I do have a few more questions. In your realm, what would be something that would constitute bravery?
Bravery? It'd be fighting against odds that seem always against you. To rise up against what seems to be an unbreakable wall. To fight back regardless of how hopeless a situation is. Bravery resides in your heart there. When you're willing to stand up and fight against all opposition.
At what point does that bravery become foolishness?
It's only foolish if you lose.
Okay, next question. What made you yourself want to join the army? What brought you into this fight?
Well, after my father died in the Great War, sort of left an impact on younger me. Couldn't let it go. Finally, when this chance came up, years later, that they came back again, even worse reasons for their entry and even more terrible deeds done on their behalf, I had to enlist. It was my job. It was my duty to my people. And it was my duty to my father. So I worked the hardest. To be the best. To be the strongest. And, well, eventually that got recognized. Of course the best would be seen amongst all that muck. So I got enlisted to this elite group. And hopefully, we're going to make a difference in this war.
And how'd you become a part of the elite group? What trials, tribulations, or what did you have to overcome in order to join them?
Besides a stellar report from my encampments, I was one of the few to survive the second D-Day. Quite a terrible affair. It's actually where I met Yarman, too. Bit coincidental, if you ask me.
What's a D-Day?
Well, the first one was one of the worst incidents in the war. Absolute slaughter of the American, Canadian, and Allied troops. The second one was a much more feverish attempt. It was even more, sort of set up, too. They finally got those shore guns close enough, and we got our battleships finally retrofitted to fire on the shore. It was a struggle climbing up those hills, but coming out victorious puts hope in a lot of people's heart.
Understood. And is there anything that you might be afraid of?
Besides the Germans winning the war? Needles. Ugh. Those are the worst.
And can you tell me a bit about your family?
I already told you about my father. Real caring fellow. Showed me the first initial ropes to hunting. Really showed me how to carve up a venison and how to aim at the right spots, so to speak. My mother, sweetest gal ever, surprisingly, also was into hunting. Real family of go-getters, so to speak. She, showed me a little bit more before I decided to enlist in the war. I don't have really any siblings. And, despite what most people say, I do not have a girl back at home. Wouldn't want someone's heart broken by my tragic loss in the war.
What if it wasn't tragic? What if you just come back and unfortunately you have no one waiting for you? Or will you use your I was in the war to woo a woman?
Besides my natural charisma, adding war hero to that list? Huh, I'll be crawling through chicks.
I bet you will, you charismatic son of a bitch. And can you tell me, other than D-Day, were there any defining moments in the war that you've participated in?
I'd say it's the good we've done so far. Saving those refugees from that camp, it was harrowing, and not a lot made it back. But saving any number of lives, it's great in my book.
And do you miss anything from back home?
My mother cooked a mean raspberry pie. Ugh, army food just doesn't suit me. I need my sugary sweets back at home, and cheap chocolate isn't really covering that.
Yeah, chocolate can be a hit or miss.
What did that pie ever do to you?
Besides being the most delicious experience ever,
No, you said it was mean.
Figure of speech again. Meaning it's really good.
All right. You've been very mean to us.
I believe we are getting close to the amount of time that we have. Does anyone have any follow-up questions?
What personality trait has got you in the most trouble in your life?
if I were to choose, is that most of the people leading me are usually idiots, so I don't follow them at all.
Ah, so a rebellious side.
Call it what you want, I get results.
Yes, yes.
Do other people follow you?
Not really.
Given 8 hours by yourself in town before you and your party leaves to go back to, going to your next destination, how do you spend that time?
So, cigarettes, hard to come by. Glad am I thankful that you guys are just giving me as many as I want here. But they're hard to come by once you're in a war. So, I am a poker champion. And no, not because I'm altering luck or whatever, but because these feathers, you can slip a few cards in between. I haven't been caught yet.
Ah, so basically you're cheating.
At least it gets me another cigarette to get through the day.
I can't say I blame you. Those things are quite addictive, which is why I'd refuse to have them myself, but people like them, so producing them is beneficial, at least to my coin purse.
Did you know that those are poisonous?
Yeah, they can take me down later in life. Ooh, speaking of, can I take a couple for the road?
I don't think you'll be able to bring them with you to your world, but
You can certainly try.
yes. Also, my final question is, if you were a god in your world, what would you do with that power?
First of all the Nazis. If those absolutely crazy wackos get out of here, fine by me. And, I'd have a whole life of goddom in front of me. I don't know. I guess peaceably retire. Back into the woods to hunt some more.
You'd become a god of the hunt.
All right. I'm sure you'll figure a way back to your realm, and actually, it looks like you might be fading right now.
Oh, looks like they finally got me to the medical tent. Well, I bid you adieu.
And us too, and have a good awakening.
basically, we're on this mission, and we're going into this one camp. Let's just pretend that didn't happen.
Infiltrators.
Infiltrators, oh god.
We've got another one.
And they've got pizza too.